yeah, very blessed with the people that work here, and it's people that have been around radio for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Some of our DJs were with KGON back in the 70s and 80s, and they knew each other then, and then they went off and did their own things, and now they're back here at KINK, and it's really, we have a lot of Portland legends here, which is cool.
Yeah, KINK's been around since 1968, which is the year I was born.
Is that right?
I'm not from here, but I've been here 10 years. So
Christmas Day, 1968.
Yeah, I wasn't born on Christmas, but anyway, I mean, all kinds of crazy things happen at radio stations. You get all kinds of celebrities touring through here. I mean, people think about the old TV series WKRP and some of the crazy things they showed on there. But kind of talk about some of your most unique memories of working here.
Actually, I was sitting in this room a couple of months ago, and I was conducting a meeting, and what's his name? Tom Green walked by, and then he came back, and he sort of like poked his head around the corner, and then he kind of like pressed himself up against this glass here, and he's making faces at us. And it's one of those things like, is that Tom Green? What is he doing here?
That's great.
So he's crazy on and off camera.
Yeah, it was pretty bizarre, but it was cool to see. I mean, we've had a lot of really cool people come through. I mean, people that you see on TV growing up, and you see them in life, and you're like, wow, that's the guy I saw on Saturday Night Live, and it's just cool because they're just walking around and hanging out. Actually, I'm gonna blank on the guy's name now, but he was just hanging out over there on the couches, and Steve Pringler, afternoon DJ, was like, "Aren't you? What's the guy from his name? He was in Casino. I can't remember his name, but he sat out there, and then he came into the studio, and they did a quick interview, and that's kind of how it works.
Yeah. Everything's
so I'm a DJ now.
Now, Jason brings up a good point. I mean, obviously, it's one of his dreams to be more involved in radio, and obviously, we had a chance to meet a number of the different staff members here today. But kind of just talking in general about the number of different job types that there are in radio.
Well, there's four categories of jobs. There's DJs, then there's programming, which are kind of interlocked, and then so we'll count that as one. Programming and DJs is one. Sales is the other, selling advertising, and then we have promotions, which is what I do, and then engineering, which is what those guys do to keep everything running. And so the opportunities within those, I think the
programming.
That's obviously one of the most desired ones is programming, but those are the opportunities that don't come up very often because there's only 6 DJs on our station, and that's a lot. And then we have one program director and one music director who's also a DJ.
How much crossover is there between those schools of trade there? Like if you started in programming or
most people start as a DJ, and then they program as well for small stations. Like Chris was saying, she was in Eugene for a while as a programmer and as a DJ, and then you just you just wait for your break. And if the station that you're programming is doing well, people like the sound of it, then maybe someone comes knocking at your door and that's great. But maybe not. You might be there for a long time. So it's but I think sales is one of there's a lot of salespeople because they work on commission only, and so they only get paid when they sell something. So you can have as many as you want because you don't have to pay them when they sell something, and that's great for the company. And then promotions, there's one of me for the station. So.
And we probably should have asked you about your background first here, but that's the beauty of an edited interview. So kind of talk about how you got into radio and how you came here.
I got into radio when I had just graduated high school, and I started as a part-time street teamer, working events and things like that, and just kind of got hired, kind of fell into it. Really wasn't sure what I wanted to do while I was going to college, and I did it, and I loved it. I loved going out and talking to people and interacting and giving away free things. It was great. And so I kept doing it. After I graduated, I got a full-time job. I got one job at Adidas, and then that ended, and I went to sell insurance. And while I was at both of those, I was still working part-time on the weekends with the radio station just because I loved it so much, not because they were paying me anything, but just because I loved it.
Yeah.
And then eventually,
Radio station.
I ended up quitting altogether and saying, all right, I got to find something else to do because I can't do this. And then a couple of months later, they had a full-time position open up, and I applied, and I got it. And then back in August, they did some rearranging, and they promoted me, and here I am today,
Sounds great.
in all of my glory.
That was great.
So what's your ultimate goal in radio?
Well, that's a tough question. I'm not sure yet. I love what I'm doing now, but there's not a lot of money in the promotional side of things. So it could be where maybe someday I'll be a programmer. Maybe, I don't know. It's tough to say.
Work in progress, huh?
But yeah, I mean, working in the position I do, you make a lot of contacts with a lot of people, and so that's good.
Contact.
Yeah.
It's good to kind of build your repertoire of potential employers.
Sounds
especially.
great.
And then just a final thing I wanted to tell you about. This can be off camera, but it doesn't